Hey, what's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of A Nation United, Rock, Flag, and Eagle. And in today's episode, we sim through Season 2 with the American squad. There's so many different names for it. We're Team USA, basically. You know this. At this point, if you've been following, you know the premise. So let's get right down to business, shall we? As in the last episode, of course, I gave you guys the option of leaving some names in the comment section as far as who we should look at, which that does coincide with something that we have to do. As we discussed with Bodie Wild, there are some players who play for a different national team than where they were technically born. Bodie Wild, born in America, plays for the Canadian national. Other way around, Bodie Wild, born in Canada, plays for the U.S. national team, whereas Cal Foote, born in the United States, but plays for Team Canada. Now, obviously, this won't be an issue moving forward. When we get into computer-generated players, we'll just go off of the nationality regardless of what it is. But in this case, I am going to trade away Cal Foote, who we just picked up in the last episode. I am also going to look to move Stephen Johns, and we're still going to move Keith Kincaid. And the person we're getting back in return, as much as I'd love to get Brady Shea, that's not going to work. The value is a bit too much because the Florida Panthers don't want to give him up. However, we should be able to acquire Will Butcher, who many of you have brought up as a potential acquisition. This is, of course, why we'd be moving Stephen Johns as well, to make room at the NHL level for Mr. Butcher. And, of course, it just makes sense to get rid of Keith Kincaid right here and right now. Now, I'm not expecting, despite the value bar being in our favor, I'm not expecting to get a ton back in this deal in terms of draft picks. We're certainly going to try. I'm going to throw a first rounder in there and see what happens. But considering they don't want to move Butcher, I'm thinking we're not getting a whole hell of a lot back. But again, we'll aim high here. Hope for the best. Maybe by some miracle we can get a first round pick, which isn't the case, but that's okay. We'll try to settle for the second and third. Still not worth it for them, apparently. How about a second and a sixth? Just to test it out. Still no, just the second. Case in point, they don't want to trade him, so we're not getting much back with these draft picks. That's not really all that surprising. Let's try the 2 fourth-round picks. They already have our 4th-round pick. That still didn't go through. Just another 4th. Okay, we're definitely going to be missing out here in the value department. How about a 6th? Still no. Straight up? Good God. All right, well, I was hoping that we wouldn't have to give anything up in this deal, but too late for that. Will Butcher's the guy that we have to get, and I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure that this happens. I have already, again, tested out the idea of getting Brady Shea. That's way too expensive, although at this point, seeing how expensive it might be to get Will Butcher, maybe it would be worth going and trying to get Brady Shea. You're a bit off in value, and it doesn't meet our trade block very well. I mean, you're getting back 3 greens, was it there? Doesn't meet your friggin' value all that well. Was it 2 4th-round picks that I offered before? I don't remember. Quite close to fair value. We're going to have to give up a 3rd-round pick in this deal as well. That is tragic. Can it be a 3rd-round pick down the road, though, so I can at least have my 3rd-round pick next year? And can I get back a 6th, just to make it feel like I'm not losing in this deal? Thank you very much. So as much as that hurt, what's done is done. Cal Foote had to go. We move Stephen Johns. We move Keith Kincaid. That makes room for John Gillies as the NHL backup. And we add Will Butcher, which, for the moment, absolutely improves the look of our defense at the NHL level. So with that, let's take one more look at the lines before we begin the sim. And, of course, as has been pointed out, we are going to move Logan Brown off of the 4th line. Let's take a look here, actually. As far as player roles go, I'm all right with these 3 being on the 4th line. Depth, and Milano is a 3rd liner. Like I said, I'm going to give Sonny the chance. And I know Paling's the better center here, but I'm going to leave Logan Brown there. I'll have Paling on the left. I'm going to give Milano the chance, I think, on the on the second line to start. So again, Donato, Eichel, Palmieri, Milano, Galchenyuk, and Tuck. And we'll leave it like that for now. Of course, we can change things up if we have to. And actually, center-wise, that was the issue, wasn't it? Well, let's have Paling. Let's have Miles Wood there. Paling at center. Tufte will be on the left. We'll do it that way. That still works, especially considering Paling is a depth forward. So we have different ways to go about setting up our lines. I feel like that works particularly, and fingers crossed, getting these players to develop. I'm excited to see what we get from Belpedio. Hoping we get some development from Jordan Schmaltz this season. Of course, Hellebuck in goal. I mean, we're looking good. Obviously, there's still that major focus on player development. And that's really going to be the one thing that we're going to have to rely on. I am going to sign one more guy. To be honest, we could have just sent down Stephen Johns. But let me go sign one more forward. Although I will double check. Do we have anybody that's worth signing right now? I don't know if we do. Let's find out. I can't even remember who we drafted at this point. Let's take a look. Unsigned players, nobody. Neat. Well, that answers my question. So we need one player off the free agent list, the best American that we can get. Unfortunately for me, I do not have the laptop open, so I'm just going to go off a best guess here from what I can remember as far as who is American. And I'm not quite remembering. I mean, it's a guarantee at this point that I've already passed an American defenseman. Question is, who is the first name where I can almost say with certainty that they're American? And I don't have an answer. Oh my God, how many Americans have I passed already? I just don't know. Please, can there be somebody whose name jumps off the page here? I'm pretty sure Ruggiero, who's an NCAA player. Please. Just be. It's an entry-level deal, though. And I'm not really a big fan of that. Oh, God. Jake Bischoff? Probably not. Oh, boy. Okay, you know what? I'm wasting too much time with this. I'm just going to sign a veteran. Doesn't really matter. Nate Ginnon. Perfect. Oh, I already know he's American. Beautiful. There we go. When in doubt, look for a veteran, particularly one that you've already signed before. Let me double check the scouting here. Good, I already set that up. Beautiful. Beautiful. So all we have to do is sign Nate Ginnon. He will get the spot down in the AHL. It'll make that team a little bit better. And we will be good to go. Kyler Yamamoto, 4 points in 2 postseason games so far. Exciting numbers for him. Let's take a look here as we'll get Ginnon into the lineup. Ferentz will be bumped up. And there you go. The team is set. Let the simming begin. I'm not sure how well we'll do in Season 2. Of course, last year, we were very, very close to a playoff spot. Will we be able to pull off the same feat here? I'm going to say no, but crazier things have happened, considering the fact that we're undefeated so far in this postseason. 5-0. We do get crushed by Pittsburgh, though. But hey, at the very least, if the Colorado Avalanche of the 2016-17 season proved anything, it's that a dominant preseason absolutely means that you're going to just run the league and you're going to win the Stanley Cup, right? And not have one of the worst records in NHL history. Not at all. Not at all. But as we get the sim underway, a promising start. We're going to lose this game because I said that. Yep. But you know what? But hey, at least we do pick up a point. Again, no expectations for this season. The goal still isn't to make the playoffs. It's to continue to see development of, and progress from our prospects. As, of course, that is pretty much the way we set up this team. We're going to live or die. We're going to thrive or miserably fail, depending on that level of progression from said prospects, particularly the ones that we took in the fantasy draft, which of course ended up being a lot of players. But with the addition of Will Butcher, having someone like Kyle Palmieri on this team to work with Jack Eichel, having younger guys in the lineup who still have strong attributes, I'm feeling okay, aside from the fact that we have not won a game in the month of November. Wow. Normally, a collapse to this extent is reserved for March. We might go an entire month without a win. Can we please beat Philadelphia? Or are we seriously going to go an entire month without a win? We have 3 points this month from overtime and shootout losses. We did not win a single game in November. So much for that optimism. Now, the Cleveland Monsters, on the other hand, 18-4-2, they are tearing it up. Wow. They're tearing it up in the sense that they're doing very well. I'm tearing it up in the sense of my hopes and dreams that I've written it down on a piece of paper. Just fucking tear it up and wipe your ass with it, because this season is over. You do not go an entire month between wins, if not longer, and still find success and make the playoffs as we lose to Montreal. What happened? We finally win a game. It's a 3-0 shutout over Anaheim. I am struggling to see how this team collapsed to that extent. That is the biggest losing streak I have ever had in one of my series. So, round of applause to Team America, as we have set a record already. We're in season 2, and we have set a record. I have never had a month go that poorly for any team that I have ever had outside of Draft to Glory, of course, where, especially in the early stages, where we literally have the worst team possible. This eclipses a couple of, as I said, March collapses. I feel like I referenced that, if not in this series, it was in the Send series recently. The month of March is typically the time where I've had my teams just collapse and say, you know what? No, we don't want to make the postseason. This time out, that was reserved for November. Now, I want to take a look here, considering we have that losing record. I want to take a look, because Galchenyuk's actually leading this team in points. Let's check the point totals and see if we've had any progression from any of our players. Donato with 24 points. Wow, Kyle Palmieri has 2 goals. That's embarrassing. Alex Tuck to the top line, please. Sonny Milano's done all right, but I may give someone else the chance. And that third line hasn't exactly clicked. Let's see, 4th depth, 4th. Again, Miles Wood could play on the 4th line, but we kind of just need Paling there. At the moment, Kyler can play center. You know what? I'm going to bump up Kyler Yamamoto, and we're going to go with Milano, Brown, and Wood. So we're going to change things up a little bit. Defensively, I got to be honest, I'm not really sure what we could do to change it up. I'm just, at this point, expecting us to be a bad team, which is exactly what we are, despite the fact how on God's green earth did we lose every game in November, and how do we have such a bad record when Connor Hellebuck is playing lights-out Vezina caliber hockey? 934 save percentage, a 202 with 5 shutouts and 33 appearances. That is mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling to see that we're doing this poorly. Granted, Gillies has been pretty poor, but to see that we're doing this poorly with goaltending at that level and at that standard. This team is a mystery to me. This team is an enigma. Somehow we are great, but also just terrible. So figure that one out. As we get a trade offer for Derek Stepan, of course, we are going to decline that. We pretty much have to target what trades we decide to make, since obviously we'll be getting offers for whomever. But right now we're okay. And actually, let me scout out forwards again, but I'm going to stop it, and we'll take a look at the draft board. Now, of course, in terms of created players, Jack Hughes will be available in this draft. So a top 3 pick in the draft would more than likely secure us the player unless it's a terrible AI-generated draft class. So he is the obvious target. So we got to look at the board. He is American. We also have Kaliev, though. Arthur Kaliev is available. I would have to double check, though, with him, especially with a name like that. You'd expect Russian, and if he plays for the Russian national team, or at least for the Russian World Junior team, under 17s, whatever, we'll look to change our target. But aside from that, the first round is looking pretty sparse. So again, we do have Jack Hughes. I'm not sure where Kaliev plays. He plays on Hamilton. And Hughes plays for Medicine Hat, but I know how good Hughes is. So OHL forwards for Kaliev. Where are the next set of Americans, if any? We have Glennie, who plays in Kingston. All right. We have Kalanos, who plays in Oshawa. All right, so the OHL is without a doubt our next targeted area. Kip Kalanos, by the way. I appreciate the alliteration. Solid stuff. Didn't mean to go back there. That's unfortunate. That'll waste a few more seconds, but hey, what's the rush? You can't rush greatness, right? Which is why we're taking our sweet time in our approach to this series. So let's see here. And actually, you know what? In saying that, view prospects in region. Let's see what we're dealing with here. In the United States, we have Bochenski, who... tough call. 74 stick checking. I was hoping the overall would be very solid. We have Staples in the 5th round. He won't be anything special, but he could be half decent. What about Pollock? Again, not a safe bet to be a steal, but his name is Murray, so how can you go wrong? You have Del Zotto, Bilesma. Again, the attributes, he might be half decent, but there's no guarantee. But Duke Bilesma is as Canadian as it gets. And yes, I know, an enforcer in the 3rd round, Kirk Cashman, could very well be a target, especially when you see an enforcer that highly projected. They typically end up being half decent, at least in terms of enforcers. So let's focus on the OHL. I'll definitely be scouting the U.S. regions again. Let's do a little bit of scouting in the OHL moving forward. And yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's keep the sim going. 17, 25, and 5 as of January 22nd. So let's move on. In terms of making any last-second changes as we approach the deadline, I don't really plan on doing anything. I think we're good to go. I think we're fine. Obviously, this season, we're a bad team. I accept that. We'll focus on the draft from here on out. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we end up being in a half-decent spot. Although, admittedly, as I'm going to reject that deal for Gaudette, admittedly, I need to get, because again, I tend to keep my phone and tablet on the other side of the room, or just flat out of the room, so I don't get distracted, because it's happened before. Flat out, it's happened before, when I've just been like, I've just completely zoned out because I'm scrolling through Twitter on my phone, and moments like this when it's simming, and then the screen, I just sit there on that screen for 1 second and just be talking generically. Sometimes, moments like this, admittedly, they're not the most exciting when your team is hot garbage. But the point of this was I need to double check Kaliev there. Kevin Connaughton, you are Canadian, are you not? Naughton, even? You are Canadian. That's unfortunate. There we go, the wonderful Windows sound that everyone is familiar with. Kevin Connaughton, are you Canadian? Or are you not? Oh boy, I'm losing my mind. It's fine. It's fine. Every episode I have one of those I'm losing my mind moments. It's gone. It's been gone for a while. It really has. So who am I fooling? 23 wins. We'll change to OHL defense for 6 weeks. We'll see what happens there. And Artur Kaliev. The question is, are you legitimately American? So U.S. and Russia, as I expected. The question is, does he play for Russia or the States? And there's no info there. There's no info. Nope, he does play for the U.S. All right, so U.S. S15 and U.S. S16. So Kaliev will be available to us. Despite the split nationality, he does represent the States. So Artur Kaliev will be that backup option if we end up missing out on Jack Hughes in this run. So let's shut down the old laptop. So we have 67 points. Unfortunately, somehow, some way, the Pittsburgh Penguins are worse than we are, which seems impossible, again, given that we went a month without a win. We'll sim our final 3 games of the season as we hit 30 wins against Montreal. Will we be able to pass that? Yes, we will. A 31-win season for the Blue Jackets. 42 losses, 9 OTL/shootout losses. The Cleveland Monsters, though, should be playoff bound. 44, 28, and 9 on the season. So let's take a look at all the stats. Basically, let's take a look at everything. And we will start off here. So Ryan Donato finishes with 25 goals, 18 assists. Not too bad. A lower point total, though, than last year, which isn't all that surprising. Jack Eichel was pretty disappointing. Also a lower point total, still put up 22 goals. Alex Tuch, 31 points. He started the season on the second line. There just wasn't the same magic with him this year. Galchenyuk put up more points. He had the 4 extra goals this year. Kyler Yamamoto in his rookie year, 17 points. Still a 77. And Kyle Palmieri put up 45 points. He was pretty disappointing this year. Sonny Milano, 14 goals, 20 assists, and not too bad. Logan Brown, decent. Miles Wood, 21 points, kind of disappointing. The 18 points for Tufte, 23 for Paling, and the 18-point mark for Max Jones. In terms of defense, 20 points for Hannafin. Trouba did very well in the assist column, as did Will Butcher. 18 is not too bad, especially on this team. Connor Murphy struggled, Jordan Schmaltz struggled, and Belpedio did all right. 20 points. Isn't too shabby. Connor Hellebuck, he kind of fell off the pace of Vezina candidate, but he still had a tremendous season for us. 23 appearances for Gillies, 5 wins. You know, we knew that Kincaid was going to be the more dependable backup option. Maybe we should have stuck with that. Adam Gaudette had a very strong season, 50 points at the AHL level. We'll go take a look at every point total at both the NHL and the AHL level. Before getting a look at the playoff setup, we'll just breeze through that, although we will follow along with Cleveland. And at this rate, we may, in fact, just get to the draft. So we'll take a look here. League-wide, the Avalanche win the President's Trophy. We finished second bottom in the league. So Pittsburgh, who still have a game left, mind you, have already clinched the best odds to win the number 1 pick. However, we have the second best odds. So I'm feeling good. We should, fingers crossed, unless we really get screwed over here, we should end up with Jack Hughes out of this draft, as Cleveland will in fact be heading to the postseason. They're going to be taking on Grand Rapids in the first round. So again, you got to look at the point total. Eichel led our team in points throughout the entire league. A 90-point season. Max Pacioretty on the Florida Panthers leads the league in points. We also had Barzal up there, Henrik Borgstrom. But what a season for Max Pacioretty. Borgstrom led the NHL in goals. Borgstrom and Tolvanen were up there. Laine was as well. 37 goals, for Tyson Jost. It's a young man's league. The best plus-minus was Justin Falk, one of the players I took a look at, but his value was stupidly high. Olli Levy, with the worst plus-minus in the league, the penalty minute king, Jake Dotchin, no surprise. Power play goals, Kaprizov, Borgstrom, Tarasenko, Laine, and Marchand, all at 12. Shorthanded goals, none for Marchand, really. That's absurd. Who took the most shots? Screw it, we're here. It was Kovalchuk. Of course, in Vancouver. The Iron Man of the league by 15 seconds over John Klingberg was Shane Gostisbehere. The most minutes belonged to Shane Gostisbehere. The most face-offs won John Tavares. He might be a Selke favorite. The hit king was Anze Kopitar. The block king was Ryan McDonough. The giveaway king, Dylan DeMello. And the leader in takeaways, Mark Scheifele and Sidney Crosby. The fight leader, come on, of course, Jake Dotchin. 24 fights. I don't know what it is. Jake Dotchin is just programmed to be the biggest goon in the league. It's amazing. As we get a look at the AHL, the goal-scoring crown went to Shane Bowers, the only guy to hit 40. Shout out to Barry Talix, who hit 37. Wade Allison was up there, Forsbacka Karlsson as well. Only 5 players hit 30 goals or more. The point leader was Jay Beagle, 80 points at the AHL level. I do want to take a look at the monsters, as Bracco and Gaudette at least hit 50 each. Tyler Pitlick was up there. Chad Chris, 45 points for a defenseman. I will take that every day of the week. The goaltending, a .930 save percentage for Hayden Hockey in 59 appearances. Jake Ottinger, a .916 for a 71 overall goaltender. That is not all that bad. No complaints from me. Now, as we follow along with the Cleveland Monsters throughout this postseason run, of course, their hopes and dreams really rely on Gaudette and Bracco to continue to deliver, and hopefully Hayden Hockey can continue to play as he has, which honestly has been quite stellar for an AHL team. So there we go. The regular season has come to a close. Again, we will follow along with the Monsters here. The further they make it, if they do, we'll follow along that much more intently. We're going to sim the first 2 games. It's a 2-1 overtime win and a 5-1 win. So we'll sim games 3 and 4. Can the Monsters complete the sweep? Yes, they can. So Cleveland with the sweep in round 1. We do have to go take a look at the draft board here to get an idea on where we want to scout next. If we don't, actually, you know what? Let's go right back to the States. Try to get as much information on these guys as possible, just so that we know. Obviously, this will be where the majority of the Americans come from, so let's just take care of that. We're going to go 3 weeks, and then if we have a little bit of extra time, we'll scout the W, or maybe just the O again. Maybe we'll go for the W, though, just in case. Just in case there's anybody there. So back to Cleveland, again after the sweep of the Grand Rapids Griffins. They will take on the St. Louis Blue Notes, I believe it is, taking on St. Louis's AHL team. Let's sim the first 3 games of the series as they drop the first 2, but rebound with a win in Game 3. We'll sim Game 4. It's a loss, and unfortunately for the Monsters, it's not looking too good, and indeed it is over. So they complete the sweep of Grand Rapids in round 1, only to be bounced by the Blues AHL team in 5 games in round number 2. I'm still thankful, though, for the extra bit of playtime that our prospects managed to get. In terms of expectations, Calder Cup would have been nice, but it's certainly not what I was expecting. So, I'll take it. Now, the season should be over. We have Cleveland's record on screen. Of course, we'll take a look at the Cup-winning team, the bracket, the awards, our progress reports, and we will indeed get to the draft in this episode. Let's focus on goaltenders for 3 weeks here. Let's see. Who are the champions going to be? We still don't know. The playoffs are going late this year. It's June 3rd, and the Minnesota Wild have won the Stanley Cup, and the St. Louis Notes win the Calder Cup. So we did lose to the eventual champions in St. Louis, which softens the blow a little bit. Mishmash had 5 points in 8 games. Let's take a look here at what a Stanley Cup winning team looks like here in year 2. Let's get a look at the Minnesota Wild. Johnny Gaudreau, I imagine. Yeah, I mean, Boston made it to the finals, so spoiler alert there. Thomas Vanek, 22 points in 28 games. Unbelievable. Nyquist, Yanni Gourde, Timo Meier, Kyle Connor, Jordan Martinook, Vladimir Sobotka. This team won, huh? I know Bergeron's there, and his scoring was down, but you can tell just the depth in scoring that they had, where some of the bigger names on the team didn't quite deliver or have to carry the weight. Liljegren's already up to an 86. You have Morgan Rielly, Seth Jones, Coburn, Hughes, and Adam Pelech. Still, though, a team with Jones, Rielly, and Liljegren is amazing. The goaltender was Cam Talbot, rocking a 918. So clearly, the goal scoring led the way for the Minnesota Wild. I got to admit, I'm surprised they were able to get the job done. They barely survived, beating the Bruins in 7 games. In the AHL, the Notes went on to beat Texas in 6, and then the Charlotte Checkers in 6. Let's take a look at the awards here. I cannot believe that Minnesota team won it. But for the second straight year now, the Stanley Cup goes to a Western Conference team, and of course, for the second straight year, the President's Trophy winning team falls short. The Art Ross goes to Max Pacioretty, as does the Hart. Brent Burns wins the Norris. Johnny Gaudreau, the Lady Byng. Elias Pettersson. I can never decide. I keep hearing Canucks fans say it's Peterson, it's Pettersson. Elias! What does Vancouver stand for? He wins the Calder. Thomas Vanek wins the Conn Smythe, John Gibson the Vezina, and the Jennings for the second consecutive year with both of those awards. Zdeno Chara wins the Masterton. Bergeron wins the Selke as Pacioretty takes on the Ted Lindsay. The Rocket Richard, though, goes to Henrik Borgstrom. In the AHL, Jay Beagle put up the most points. He was also league MVP. Shane Bowers put up the most goals. The Rookie of the Year was Noah Gregor. I think it's Michael Kapla was Defenseman of the Year. Kari Lehtinen, your Goaltender of the Year. Cam Ward, the MVP of the playoffs, as Hayden Hockey had the lowest GAA. He and Jake Ottinger. So there you go. Solid goaltending in Cleveland, as we kind of predicted. Unfortunately, though, when they're going up against Cam Ward, who is playing against AHL caliber opponents, Cam Ward's going to look like the Cam Ward of old. So there's really not a whole hell of a lot that we could do there. But that brings Season 2 to a close, as it's time to prepare for our second draft with the team, and we do in fact end up with the number 2 pick. So I'm feeling good about that, obviously, unless, again, by some miracle, there aren't that many good computer-generated players. Jack Hughes will be available for us as R.J. Umberger and Nate Ginnon both retire. We did not lose any goaltenders. Let's take a look. Holmqvist, Leighton, and Nilstorp retire. We lose a Ginla, Stajan, Umberger, Kelly, Tom Kostopoulos, who just retired in real life, actually. So there you go. Not the biggest names leaving the game, but still, we had some retired players. Let's do this. It's draft time. Let's take a look at whether or not we are going to get our wish of being able to draft Jack Hughes. And as we take a look at the top 5, drum roll please. He is in the top 5. I'm scared. There is only one computer-generated player in the top 5. I forgot all about Nolan Foote, by the way. There is only one computer-generated player in the top 5, that being Festerling. Riley Festerling is the only person here who I know is computer-generated. The rest, Bjorn Fott, I added into the game. Of course, I upgraded Peyton Krebs and Kirby Datch. And then there's Jack Hughes. We have an issue where I'm going to double-check Nolan Foote's eligibility just so that we don't run into issues. I imagine technically he represents Canada. I'm not going to take the chance. Toporowski, I'm pretty sure just isn't anything tremendous. But then we have Kaliev, So I could trade down to get Kaliev if worse comes to worse and we do not get Jack Hughes, which, again, I am scared. We need Pittsburgh to take Festerling because I cannot imagine that they want to trade this pick. They do. Whether or not I can make that happen, though, is a different question. They don't want our pick. So, yeah, they want to trade theirs, but they don't want ours. I'll still try for it. Like, will this go through? Like, how much would I have to give up just to make sure that we get what we need? Indeed, Nolan Foote is not eligible for us, despite being born in Denver, of course, when Adam Foote, his father, I mean, both Cal and Nolan were born in Denver, were they not? Of course, Adam Foote was playing for the Avalanche at that time. Cal was technically born in Englewood, Colorado, which I imagine is a suburb. So, yeah, there you go. 5th round pick, is that enough? Is that enough to make this happen? All right. Well, fingers crossed Pittsburgh doesn't screw us over because I'm not sure how much I'd have to give up to make that happen. If Pittsburgh takes him, we trade out of the top 10, pick up some assets, and go after Kaliev. Please let it be Festerling. Please. Of course. The one goddamn thing that could have screwed me over, and it happened. Please tell me that the Penguins want to trade him. I could have given up, a third and maybe more to try and make it happen. I'm still just going to target him outright, even though... Oh, God. All right. What do you say to that? No, of course not. Unbelievable. 2 years in a row to start this series that this happens. I mean, again, I would have had to give up so much just to get the pick. What about a first and a third next year? No, it wouldn't have happened. They were taking him. Even though they wanted to trade that pick, we would have had to give up a first, a second. It would have been miserable. So, Buffalo, do you want to trade that pick? Of course you don't, because this game is just determined to make this as difficult for me as possible. The Rangers don't want to trade that pick. Okay, well, let me look at the 10th pick from Detroit. Do you want to trade that? Thank God you do. All right, Detroit, let's make this happen. Because I'm sure you would love to move up. I would love to help you move up. Let's make things happen here, and I don't care. I am going all in on trying to get as much as I can here. Let's see. How would you like to give me 3 firsts and 2 seconds for the 2nd overall pick? Not quite. All right, let me take out the extra first, and you give me that 2nd. So 2 firsts and 3 seconds for the number 2 overall pick. Still no. Let me take that out. Again, I am absolutely going to rip off the AI if I can here. If I can. What about 2 firsts, 2 seconds? Still no. All right. Let's go with 3rd round picks. What do you say? Still rejected. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit surprised by that one. What if I throw in a 6th from Winnipeg? No. Okay. Let's clear all that out. I know I got a minute to try and complete this, or I gotta call the timeout. So we have their pick. Let me see if... You know what? I don't know if I even offered this. I did. Okay, let me take out that one. And we'll go with 2 third rounders. Is that good enough? No, it is not. I already offered it. Let me take out that 3rd rounder. Quite close to fair value. All right, so 2 firsts, a 2nd, and a 3rd. And I'll give you the Winnipeg 6th this year. Will that go through? No, it won't. Let's go ahead and add another 6th of our own. And let's take those out. Let's go 5th. Actually, you know what? 5th and 2 6th. That's fine. Will this go through? Come on. Oh, you're close. Oh, you just added a shitload more? Oh, yeah, not close enough. How about a 4th? Stop wasting my time. How is that just as close as everything else? Like, really? Jesus. As if it's not enough that you just screwed me out of getting Jack Hughes again. For the love of all that is holy, accept this. Please. Thank you. Kick rocks. I cannot wait until this team is a goddamn dynasty and I steamroll the entire league. Screw you, Pittsburgh. Screw the team that took Tkachuk, who I've already put out of my memory. We didn't get Tkachuk. We didn't get Jack Hughes. Miserable. We do get the deal done with Detroit. We pick up some assets along the way. But that is just heartbreaking to have missed out on both of them. Festerling was medium elite, but he was 1 point worse, and Detroit took Peyton Krebs. This is again, computer-generated players show up in this draft in the first round all the time. Chow is an example. How none of the bigger players showed up, I have no idea. But what I have to do, just to make sure we get somebody decent out of this, is, of course, I had to trade down. I'm not going to take Toporowski. We're going to go with the guarantee here of Arthur Kaliev, the 17-year-old playing for the Hamilton Bulldogs. I don't know if he plays for Hamilton in real life, but guess what? He is now a member of the Blue Jackets organization. Medium top 6, 65 overall. Not quite Jack Hughes, but, I'll take it. Oh, man, to miss out on Jack Hughes is just the worst. It really is. And again, I mean, in a way, it makes this more interesting because, with you guys knowing that I added Hughes into the game, seems like a slam dunk, right? Absolutely. Get Jack Hughes. It's not the way it worked out. It's just not the way it worked out. I mean, I would have had to give up a lot to make it happen. Although, I just had a thought. Pittsburgh, you want to talk? Do you want to talk? Again, you don't want to trade Jack Hughes. Yeah, there's no way. I was thinking, with what I just acquired, is it possible? There's no way. We're not getting him. Yeah, we're not getting him. So, fingers crossed there are players here that'll make this worth my while. Players that we can add to this squad after missing out on, yet again, our biggest target for this draft. So, Americans. Again, I will gladly trade down again if I have to. We have Dustin Wolf from the Everett Silvertips. No guarantees there. Chase Sakic is Canadian. Anybody else here? Really, nobody else. There is Nevins, who sucks. This is going to be tough. We have Caldwell, Don Caldwell, not an enforcer, a grinder, excuse me, who might be medium top 6, especially with him being projected to go that high in the draft. We also have Roth, 80 shot power, Ryan Roth, the playmaker, 80 speed. He might be half decent. So we have Caldwell, we have Roth, and Brodziak. And the question is, do I just take my chances on those players, or do I hope for the best, say, in a draft a year or so from now? And I gotta be honest here. I think I just gotta go for it with the players that are available here. So we have, again, Brodziak. We have Roth. And we have Caldwell. Who else was here? Nevins was garbage. We have the goaltender in Wolf, who is exactly the guy that I'm going to take, and fingers crossed that Dustin Wolf is a solid goaltender. I don't know. Not that we need goaltenders, but hey, if he's medium starter or medium elite, it makes it that much easier to get rid of Hellebuck or Ottinger in the future. And he's fringe. Well, damn, he's better than Boston Blues, but still not ideal. Someone who we will probably flip later on. In terms of anybody I missed out on, no. And we have another pick here fairly quickly. So let me double check. We have, 3 pinned players still at this point? Let me see who's in the draft. Hello, where the hell did Harley come from? I mean, I'm guessing he's medium top 4. Where the hell did Thomas Harley come from? Like, I don't know, maybe I just flat out missed him. I do not recall seeing him projected for the second round. I probably looked right past him, but goddamn. All right, well, that's who's next, and I imagine if he's great and I missed out on him, we also have Wild, who might be good. All right, well, again, this is why we mark these players down. What about Cutler? Again, not bad. So how many picks do we have left here? That is my question. Because Caldwell as the grinder looked half decent. But we do have some players listed that could be pretty solid here, particularly at the top of the board. Question is, who do we take the risk on? And do I trust the top of the board, which often doesn't work out all that well, let's be honest. In terms of time, Scott, I mean, I'm going to go for Harley here and just hope that he's at least medium top 4. I could easily see him being much worse than that, however, which is typically my luck. What about this Dahlman guy? Also not bad. Right. This is going to be a little bit more complicated than I expected. At least in terms of players that we have available to us that might not be all that bad. I'm intrigued by Dahlman. Wild is listed there. Who else do we have? We do have Caldwell again. There's Cutler. Who else do we have that info on? Ross is not eligible. Let's take a look. Lockhart's not eligible for us. 40 seconds to go on the clock. Peltier. All right, so aside from that one extra guy there that we saw based on time scouted, I'm not entirely sure. But I'm expecting him to be medium top 6, I got to be honest. But I'm going to take the risk on Thomas Harley. Let's just go for it. Let's hope for the best. And the best is not what I managed to get. Thank you, Thomas Harley, for being just as bad as I thought you would be. That's tremendous. That's exactly the kind of pick-me-up that I needed. Nevins was high 7th. I don't believe anybody I was looking at would have been drafted at this particular time. Let me know if I'm wrong here and if I missed out on any solid American players, but I don't think that it happened. Rozov was medium elite. Minnesota, how lucky, having just won the Stanley Cup. How lucky for them. How lucky. So, we look at time scouted again, because I want to pin that one player. We also have Caldwell projected here. Where are you? Dahlman. So let's look at the pinned players and just go for it. Take who we think's going to be the best. So, we have Roth, Brodziak, Wild, Dahlman, and Cutler. Cutler, 19, decent defense. Dahlman, again, nothing too crazy. Yeah, that's good size for an offensive defenseman, though. It's rare to see a 6'2", 200-pound offensive D-man, at least in my sims here. Harry Wild. We have Kevin Brodziak and Ryan Roth. Right. Who do we trust is going to be? I mean, again, we've scouted him 10 times and it's showing high elite, right? So that should totally mean that he's good, right? It won't be the case, but just so I can call out how kind of weird the drafting is in this game, let's go for him. Low top 4. You know what? That was better than what I was expecting. Low top 4, 62 overall. I'll take it. I'll take it. That's not too bad. I don't know what draft picks we have left in this draft, if any, to be honest. I just realized that. I believe that was my last pick in this draft. Although, I got to admit, wasn't exactly feeling, yeah, that was our last pick in this draft. So we're not going to know for a while as to who we missed out on and how good they're going to be. The story of that draft, those Caldwell, All right, so Caldwell went to Ottawa here. I'll try to, I'll see if I can recognize the names. Caldwell went to Ottawa. Let me know here if you noticed the name that I was looking at or that I could have drafted that I didn't, and we can check it out. Roth went to Winnipeg. And I don't know why I'm doing this to myself here, because I know I'm going to have missed out on a good player, because that's just how this works for me. But, it's fine. It's fine. Kolanos went to Chicago. Calder, I don't think, was eligible. Graham, Alexiev, Kulobov, Delzato, 6th round. Glennie, Geisberger. I'm not seeing anybody. Cashman went to the Rangers. Dahlman went to Tampa. So again, which one of these guys are going to be amazing that I'm going to regret having not selected? Staples went to Carolina. Let's see. Dinger, Cutler went to Colorado. I think that is that. So we'll go take a look at what I missed out on. Overall, this draft for us certainly wasn't great. I wouldn't consider it miserable, although, again, we did miss out on our main target. We would have had to give up quite a bit to make it happen. Maybe we should have. Maybe we should have given up that second-round pick, especially, too, with how everything panned out. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I can respect the fact that EA are continuing to throw me curveballs here throughout this run. So let's go to unsigned, and let's take a look at Colorado. Cutler was low top 9. All right, so I don't exactly regret that. Let's look at Carolina next. Staples was low top 9, so no regrets there. I think we had Chicago on the board as well. Did we? With Kolanos, I believe. Yep, Kip Kolanos, and he was not that good either. Next up are the Rangers. Is it worse if every player turned out to be garbage? Cashman wasn't that good. Let's check Ottawa. Is it worse? Because then that kind of confirms, Caldwell. There you go. Had a feeling the grinder was half decent, projected for the 3rd round. Took my chances elsewhere because, a medium top 6 grinder. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should have just, clearly, we should have just sold the farm to make it happen and to have gotten Jack Hughes. But maybe that opportunity will present itself at a different time. As the last team we have to check are the Winnipeg Jets, who ended up with Roth, who was also garbage. So it was just that grinder. It was just that grinder, which means, we should have offered every damn pick that we had in our arsenal to get Jack Hughes. We didn't, and now we're having to deal with the consequences. We'll get a look at the progress reports as we end this episode and as we end Season 2. Trouba at a 90, Eichel at an 89. Noah Hannafin up to an 86, not bad. Sonny Milano's up to a legit 84, which is tremendous. So is Ryan Donato. We have Belpedio and Tufty at 79s. Logan Brown's at an 81. Max Jones is a 78. Paling went up a point, as did Schmaltz and Yamamoto. 2-point improvement for Hayden Hockey. The 1 point for Chad Chris and Adam Gaudette. 3 points for Adam Fox. 3 points for Jeremy Bracco. 1 point for Kiefer Bellows. 2 for Grant Mishmash. The 1 point for Josh Norris. The 3 points for Quentin Hughes. I wanted your brother on this team, Quinn. Trust me, I really did. Ferentz goes up a point. Ottinger up a point. The decent improvement for Harry Wild, by the way. Just to get into the, as he got ready for the draft, he went up by 7. You had Nakis go up to a 59. And that is that. So some decent improvements throughout the team. Obviously, we'll keep our fingers crossed that we see a similar situation heading in to the preseason of next season. As, of course, we'll have that little bit of off-season development. In the next episode, we go through the re-sign phase. We go through the free agency period. We get this team ready to roll for Season 3 already. And you know what? Go ahead. Rip me apart for not getting Jack Hughes in that draft. However, maybe in the future, we will be able to somehow, some way, unite the Hughes brothers. Really, all it will take is us getting a first overall pick that we simply cannot use and dealing that and everything else to Pittsburgh to make it happen. It's possible, but unlikely, as it was probably unlikely for us to even get that pick in the first place. I would have had to give up the first, or I would have had to give up the second, and probably the second round pick and a half decent prospect that we already have just to make it happen, which is crazy. But, them's the breaks. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. You know what you can do to support the video and the channel. Links are in the description. You know that already. Click the notification bell because YouTube sucks and won't tell you when I upload, so make sure to do that. And until next time, have a good one. Day, night, afternoon, early evening, perhaps. Regardless, have a good one. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.